So I think that is more important than just blindly job hopping, or just say, I've met someone like that, like the person says, I must change an environment every 2 to 3 years. That is not necessarily the case, sometimes, because if the environment works well for you, why do you want to change? Why do you want to let go of the opportunity for you to continue to grow in the
Right.
company? And there's many factors to think about rather than just job hop.
Hello, good afternoon to our guests, and also good afternoon to all of our viewers. Welcome to another episode of The Great Talks. Today, we have two speakers here with us who are very experienced in the topic that we have today. We have Daniel as well as Zu Dian. And today we'll be talking about company loyalty, whether you should stay or should I go. And I think we can just jump straight in, and maybe we can start by having a question open to the floor. What advice would you give to a fresh grad or someone working in a company and they're deciding whether they should stay or they should go?
Or maybe I can start first. I think especially for fresh graduates, it is important to know what you want out of the employment, because for fresh graduates, a lot of time, because I'm from HR, so I can speak from the HR perspective as well as an employee. Once upon a time, I used to be a fresh graduate myself. I realized my peers, what they really look for is salary. Is the money. Of course, money is important, but to me, the other important things would be the company, the culture, the role itself. What would you learn from taking up this role? So to me, that is very important as a fresh graduate, is to first know the skills, to build the skills. Then after that, we can look at, career progression, what kind of, what would be the next step you want to go, rather than just looking at money. Because some company, they can offer you very well, of course, but they may just let you do the job, same job, day in, day out, and you won't see much skills you could learn out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. And for people who want to go to the next job, it's also similar, but of course, with a few years of experience, then you would have a better perspective of what kind of company or even industry you want to go in, because that would determine where you will be in the next 5-10 years. So say, for example, like now, a lot of people, they want to join startup companies, for example, because it sounds fun, it sounds cool, without really knowing what will entail in the end. Because it may sound good, right? I mean, some startup companies are very cool and fun. However, it may require you to sacrifice a lot of your personal time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
true.
so it depends on your priorities as well, and which life stage you are at. If you are at the life stage that you just start a new family, you have new babies, that could look very different for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zu Dian. What about you, Daniel?
I think just to add on what Zudan mentioned, especially with regards to fresh grads, right? For me, I think the most important thing for fresh grads, especially when they start to work, is the opportunity. Opportunity is a very important part. Is when it comes to starting your career. Yes, it's true. You want to know what do we want, but sometimes fresh grad, they don't know really what they want. Especially for me, I'm coming from an engineering background, and I
Right.
started my career as working in IT. So at first I was like clueless. I don't know what to do. But the most important thing is when you start a job, the most important thing is try to find what kind of opportunity that you can have within a company itself. The good thing is, from one company you can learn a lot. Like for example, if let's say you've been placed in IT, doesn't mean that for throughout your whole career you need to stay in IT. One good thing about Great Eastern is that you can jump between departments. They do have that career openings within departments. So I think that is one factor that you have to think of whenever you want to start a career, right? is good. You can have a plan, but I think the most important thing is be open-minded. Try whatever opportunity that you have. That is more important,
I see.
in my opinion.
Just to expand on that, in terms of opportunities, would you say that's one of the motivations that has led you to job hop as often as you have?
Okay, so just a little bit of background. Great Eastern is actually my fifth company. Uh, and throughout my 10 years working, I've been in five companies. One main reason why I job hop is because I already have my career plan. I already set a goal because when I was working in IT, when I'm working in IT, I already know working in IT, you can either become a vendor, you can become a consultant, and you can become a system owner
Right.
or from the user side. So I started work as a vendor, a small company, working as an IT vendor, and then after that, I got the opportunity to work in a consulting firm. And then after that, I decided that, you know what, I've already tried vendor, I already tried working in the consulting firm. Now it's about time for me to go towards the user side. So the main reason why I job hop in throughout my whole career is because I want to gain all of that experience. Unfortunately, some companies cannot give me that experience. Like if I work as a vendor, I do not know how does it feel like if I'm working as a business user or business owner, like giving out decisions and how does your decision dictates a project, so on. So, yeah, the opportunity is the main reason why job hop throughout my whole career. And another factor is for me, I want to learn a lot. Even when I was working as a fresh grad, I was given the position as a business analyst, but I did marketing, I did promotion, I did recruitment. So there's a lot of things that I wanted to learn. So that is another reason why I job hop. But after 10 years of job hopping, I feel that I'm at home now. Reason being is when I'm in Great Eastern, I can feel that okay, I've already think that okay, I feel comfortable. I have a really good team with me. I have a really good reporting team. I have a good boss. I have a really nice direction. So I can see that there's a career path for me to further expand um, my career, and I do believe that I can grow bigger in Great Eastern. So yes, job hopping, in my opinion, is not really that bad. It's good. It can bring some advantage towards your career path. But I think at a certain point you feel that it's about time to settle down. So I starting to believe that I think maybe it's about time for me to settle down.
Right, right. I see. And I like that in the beginning you touched on the fact that your educational background offered you the opportunity to sort of explore, and that sort of led you in the path of job hopping. And I think to open the floor back to you, Zu Dian, do you think, what factors do you think contribute to a person sort of staying or going in terms of staying in a company? Maybe you can give sort of a personalized context to that.
Yeah. Thank you, Sam, for the question. For me, a bit of background is that I've stayed with Great Eastern for the first 12 years, the first 12 years of my life in employment. And then after that, I left Great Eastern. I joined another entirely different industry. And last year I came back. So altogether in Great Eastern, it would be 13 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 13 years altogether. What has contributed to me staying in Great Eastern for that long? I think there were a few things. First is definitely the environment. So I was in human resource, and I had the opportunity to be rotated to another function. So when I was first employed, I was recruiter. Then after that, I was given the opportunity to be rotated to learning and development, which is what I'm currently doing. So I've been doing that for a long time. But what I really like is the company that offers me a lot of learning opportunities. I've gotten a lot of certifications because of company sponsorship. The other thing is the boss. So I had very good bosses. So that also contributed to the reason why I stayed in the company. Other than that, benefits, career progression, it worked out very well for me.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
I see. And I think I do agree in terms of both of you that learning opportunities are very important. Besides learning opportunities and also good managers, what other factors you think would help or hinder in terms of fostering company loyalty? Like maybe red flags or green flags? Yeah.
Okay, maybe I can talk a little bit about that. I think the most important thing is whenever you work in a certain company, you can feel that do you belong there?
Mm.
Because based on my previous experience, I do have this sense of I don't feel good working here. I don't feel belong here. So the sense of belonging is one thing. Another thing is I think the most important part is because my for my job, I used to work in a team. So uh, to work together, having that trust, having that the feeling that okay, I can work with people very well in this company or in this team is very important. So the camaraderie is there. So that is another important part also, because it doesn't mean that it could happen that you have a really good boss, but sometimes you don't have a really nice team or people to work with. So that is another important part. Whenever you feel like you want to stay in the company, because yes, because you are working 5 days a week, you are facing these people from 8 a.m. until 5 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Longer than you spend time with your family.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say that they are my family, I'll try to make it more professional. But the thing is, when you face with the same people on a daily basis, and then there's no click there, so I think that's a very important part. Whenever you feel like you want to stay, like if there's how to say, if let's say you feel that it's very difficult for you to even do a simple task, you don't feel like you belong there, and you don't feel that there's no people that will help you or even bosses that can encourage you to make your job easier, so it can even affect your mental, your mental
Mental health.
your mental being. So I think that is another important factor lah. Working with people is very important. So if you don't feel that you belong, if you don't feel that okay, you're not happy, and if you feel that your mental health is impacting you, so yeah, I think that's an important factor lah for you to say. But yeah, like I said, so far so good. Yeah, I've been working with a lot of people from different departments, because my job involves me working with people from IT, like people from claims, from finance, from a lot of departments, and so far everyone has been very friendly, very helpful. So I think that's another pulling factor lah for me, yeah, to further stay in Great Eastern.
I see. Okay. And what about you, Zu Dian?
Yeah, I think I agree with Daniel. People is usually the factor. Work can be very stressful, but if with the right people, you can resolve a lot of things. But if the work is okay, is decent, you can do your work well. However, you are in a very toxic environment.
Right.
A lot of politics. That you definitely can't stay in that kind of environment. So to me, I think people factor is more important when it comes to whether the person choosing to stay or leave the company, because people are the ones that you can't predict. Work would be quite, on paper, you know what you need to do, task
Right.
1, task 2,
That's
task
true.
3, no matter how heavy, you know how to plan it out. But with people, you can't predict. And sometimes with different kind of personality, you have to communicate differently. And that's where the challenge comes.
I see.
And everybody has different intention, different agenda, which is something you can't read. So I think if the company, like Great Eastern, I can attest to that because I've been here so long, that always promotes healthy working environment. And that company always, make sure they take care of their staff well-being. I think it's a good company, right? For someone to choose to stay. And if the company has, a toxic environment, toxic culture, say, for example, bullying culture,
Right.
then that could be a problem. Then it's a red flag to me.
I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Okay. And to add on to that, I know that a healthy environment in the workplace is all well and good, and having a good the good people around you is very positive in terms of fostering company loyalty. And I know for the fresh grads and people of my generation, Gen Z and younger, work-life balance is very important to us. Do you think work-life balance would also play a part or affect your commitment to a company and your loyalty towards them?
Yeah, I do believe that. Speaking from experience, working as a vendor was very it was very tiring, and also especially on that, I work as a consultant before.
Right.
Whenever I go back home on time, they will say, "Hey, you working half day today?" So yeah, yes, it's very important. Work-life balance. That was something that I seek while I was doing my job hopping. So I do believe that I can have that now, because in Great Eastern, you can work hybrid. A few days you can work from home. A few days you can work in office. So that a certain balance that I want in my career path.
Right.
I will not lie. Sometimes I do receive calls from headhunters asking me, are you seeking for a job? The first thing I will ask, what's your work arrangement? When they say, oh, every day you must come in at home, come in office, I was like, really?
Yeah.
So yeah, I previously, when I was still young, I was not married yet. I do believe that work-life balance is something I can control lah, no problem lah. Going back home late, focus on job, was something that I can tolerate. But throughout my whole career until towards this point, I do believe that work-life balance is very important for me, because I want to spend time with my family. And then on top of that also, I do really take care of my mental health, because I don't want, yes, work can be very stressful, but I want that stress to stop at a certain point.
That's fair.
So work can be very stressful for me until 6 p.m. There are a few days that sometimes I have to work overtime, or maybe I have to, I have to do some work at night. But the good thing is, if let's say I have to work sometimes at night, I can balance it off. But tomorrow, the next day, I can maybe start work a bit late. So that is something that I really do believe when it comes to work-life balance.
Yeah, actually, the work-life balance, the word was coined by our generation, which in the past we will call the Gen Y, but now they changed our the naming convention to Gen Millennial. I think we are called millennials. Yeah, so it was by us. We are the OG. So now work-life balance would mean differently to different people.
For sure.
To someone, work-life balance could mean 9 to 5, but to another person, it could mean I can stay back until 7 o'clock as long as I finish my work. But to another person, it could mean, weekend, I've got no problem doing that. So it's about how you find the balance, especially now, because now it's no longer work-life balance, I think. Now it's work-life integration. That's the new buzzword that
Right.
comes out. How you integrate life and also your work. The reason is because now we are not just talking about work, not talking about with colleagues, interaction with colleagues, we are also talking about the distraction we get from the phone.
Right.
Like when you just leave your phone aside, right? You can see the notification keep popping out. Then that tempts you to check,
Oh, yeah.
your notification and whatnot. Imagine if that happens during your day work, you are working on something, then suddenly you see something on your phone that lights up, that you would tend to go and check what are those things. And because of these distractions, it could cause a lot of mental overload. So that can be a stress factor to us, to people nowadays, with almost all of us having cell phone, smartphone. And the other thing is also the traffic. I just read a news, not verified, but this is a statistic that I just saw on the headlines, that in Klang Valley, we are considered the most the area that has the worst traffic jam globally.
Oh.
Yeah, one of the worst places.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, Klang Valley, in Klang Valley. And the thing is, after COVID, we see a lot of cars on the road, and the traffic is just getting worse and worse. So for companies out there, if you can offer work from home, it would be great. So to me, work-life balance is, I go to the office, I clock in, I do my work, and after that, I will go back home, I don't think about work. That is my work-life balance. So my working hours may sometimes be a bit long because of certain urgent requests,
Right.
and ad hoc stuff, but I'm okay as long as I can leave my work at the doorstep of the office. After that, I don't have to think about my work. So that is my work-life balance.
Right.
Yeah. And any company that can offer, any work environment that can offer that for me, it would be good. I am not that type of person who can work throughout the night, or power through lunch hours. I think lunch hours to me is very important. I need to get my lunch. I need to get the break time.
Right. Yeah.
So as long as that, is in place, that would be fine with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely am more like Zu Dian, where my work is only within the walls of the company, and then the moment I step out of the office, I don't want to think about work. So, yeah, I think both of your perspectives are very interesting. And from, like, if I were to summarize it, it would be to try and find the company that best matches what you deem is work-life balance to you, basically. As a Gen Z, I know growing up, I was told many a time that job hopping is like the only way to sort of advance your career, to earn more money, and to climb up the corporate ladder.
Whether job hopping is the only way for you to get to climb up the ladder
Right.
faster. In some cases, yes, I wouldn't say no to that, because I do handle a lot of series, so I do see that. However, it is not the only way, because if you're so good, right, internally your company want to keep you,
Right.
and the company will want to promote you. Say for myself, I compare to people, my peers who job hop, I think I also progress quite okay, right? I didn't lose out. The reason is because the company offers me opportunities, right? Opportunities to be promoted, and also opportunities to learn a lot of different skills. So I think that is more important than just blindly job hopping, or just say, I've met someone like that, like the person says, I must change an environment every 2 to 3 years. That is not necessarily the case, sometimes, because if the environment works well for you, why do you want to change? Why do you want to let go of the opportunity for you to continue to grow in the
Right.
company? And there's many factors to think about rather than just job hop. But if you really come to a point, you think career progression, and also you have come to a stagnant, you want to change, you want to continue to grow, that's a good time for you to reconsider that.
I see.
Yeah, to consider going out.
Okay.
Yeah, looking out. Yeah.
Interesting. And you mentioned that you had experience in recruitment. So I just wanted to ask, because I am curious, how do you think, as someone from a recruitment background, how do you feel when you see prospective employee and their CV has, they're only staying 2 to 3 years in many companies? How would you view them? Would you?
It depends on the job, right? Because there are some jobs say for example, like Daniel's case, he is in IT background, right?
Yeah,
IT.
working in
So
projects.
working on projects. So usually, typically, if your work revolves around projects, completing projects, usually the candidates from that background tend to job hop more. But if you're in other kind of jobs, say for example, operations, doing more of like handling company processes, and you job hop a lot, that would be something that we consider as a red flag, something that we may ask you further, why did you leave, and so on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But if on the other hand, if we see CVs that the person stay in the company for a long time, we also will ask certain questions, because to some recruiters, if the person stays too long in a company and not getting the career progression, it also indicates the person may be someone who is a mediocre performer, or who just stay in the company just for the sake of staying in the company.
Right.
So that is something that we will also look for.
I see.
It doesn't mean if the company stays in the if the person stays in the company, the person is a good candidate. It is not black and white situation. So it's a lot of times we need to look at the context, why the
Right.
person stay in the company so long, or why the person choose to leave the company in a short period of time. So we have to take the context into the consideration as well.
Right,
Yeah.
I see. And Daniel, have you ever had difficulties when you were job hopping because of your CV and your background in terms of, being in so many different companies?
Yeah, I always get that a lot. Why job? Why jump? Why jump? I think it goes like what Zu Dian said. It goes back to the nature of your role. Like for me, because I handle projects. Projects is not usually a long term. Sometimes it's just a 1 year term, 2 years term. Whenever I got that kind of question, I will say that it goes back what I want to achieve in my career. Like for example, when I jump from working as a vendor to consulting, I mentioned to them, yes, I want to do this. So when I jump from consulting to business owner, I told them this is something that I want in my career path. So it doesn't matter whether I stayed long or not. And then it's something that what I can give to them. So it's not just about you job hopping. It's something of what you can give to the company also. So usually during any interview that I receive, whenever I want to job hop, is I will always try to sell myself. I'll say that even though within this short period of time I managed to deliver this, So this is something that I can contribute to the company. So so I think that's another factor why I've been accepted from that previous companies. So and then one more thing is usually when I job hop is not because I seek for opportunity. Sometimes the opportunity comes to me through job from headhunters. So so sometimes when they ask, are you okay to job hop? Because your CVs looks like there's a lot of you've been job hopping for quite certain time. So I think, yeah, I'm still during that time I was still open because something that I want I haven't achieved yet.
Right.
So it all balance out within personal goals.
I see. And I think one final question. What sort of advice do you guys have for someone like me this is their first job and they're here for maybe like a year or so now, and they're at a crossroads and thinking of whether they should leave or whether they should go? Maybe you could give some advice for someone like me and who might be watching right now.
Okay, my advice is always be open-minded, because sometimes job can be tiring is one thing. Job can be boring. So if you start to feel bored, try to seek other opportunities within your job scope. Sometimes if let's say you've been doing this task and then you feel, oh boss, boring lah doing this task, can I do something else? Be open, ask for opportunities, because sometimes bosses doesn't know. They don't know that you're comfortable with this, or maybe you feel that okay, I feel bored, I want to do something else. Be open, because if I just talk to, if I just see my other subordinates or even my colleagues, I don't know whether they feel bored or not. So that is one thing. If you start to feel bored, try to seek opportunities within your department, or even you feel that you want to feel that there's no career advancement, try to speak up to your boss. That is one thing. And then try, one thing is not just about doing your job, try to have fun in the company. Join events, join all of this. Like, even if, let's say, there's an event, try to become a working committee. You will feel different, to be honest, because if you're working the same job, from the same task from 9 to 5, and then suddenly you will given the task to conduct annual dinner or some sort, you feel different, because the people that you'll be working with, doing your daily tasks, is a different set of people. And then when you start to working with other teams, you start to feel, hey, these people are fun.
Right.
You can start to, you know, embrace the culture more when you start to, spread your, your circle of friends in a certain company. So that is one advice I can give lah. Don't just stick to your normal boring task. Try to explore your company, because there's you may not know that there's actually a lot of opportunities within the company itself.
Yeah, I want to mention that when I was in my first year of working life, I also had the same feeling as you, Sam, that I'm not sure whether I can continue going on like that, because I've finished my first year. What's next? I don't see much progress. When can I be a manager? Those kind of questions I'll ask myself. But there was one when I was at the end of my first year in employment. Then I spoke to my colleague. Then I asked her, so is it normal for me to feel this way? And surprisingly, she said, yeah, everybody feels that way as well whenever they have done their first year, because to a fresh graduate, it is a big change, because like you were from schooling time, like after 1 year, level 1, you progress to level 2, after your first year, first year, right, as a freshman, then you move on to your second year. Then you have different syllabus, you learn different things. But at work, it's not so straightforward. So it's as if like first year, after you are done, okay, good, thank you very much for your performance, this is your bonus. Next year, you're going to do the same thing. So it's very different. And just remember, first year is a very short time in the next 30 years of your working life.
Right.
So it's just to build your foundation. And first year, you're not even talking about you contribute to the company. Actually, the company teach you. Your boss has to teach you, has to coach you. So it's more of company contributing to you.
Right.
So when going to the second year, I really agree with what Daniel mentioned. If you think that this task you have already handled very well, you think you have mastered the task, mastered the skills, you can speak to your boss, right? Speak to your supervisor, say, okay, I've done this, what is the next thing I can do? What's the next project I can do? Or even talk about your career progression. No harm to ask your manager, how far does it take for me to be promoted in the next level? Then that's the time your manager could be very honest to you to tell you, oh, maybe you need another 10 years. But you got to accept that, right? Because that's how two-way communication works. So I think it's always good if you could have open communication with your supervisor, because sometimes your supervisor, your manager may not know you are actually stuck, or you are actually bored, you face these certain challenges. It's okay, because all of us, we've been through that. Myself, I've been through that first year. Then when I heard what my colleague mentioned, then I know, okay, it's quite normal. Then I go on to the second year. And the other thing I want to say is that have patience. Patience is not a virtue that a lot of people uphold, but I think it is important at work, right? Patience. Have patience with yourself, have patience with your boss, have patience with this whole system, because we are not superheroes. We can't change the world in 1 year. We can't even change ourselves sometimes. So have patience and know that we are going to be better. But of course, first we must set our target, we must set our goals, where we want to head to. If we don't set our goals, we are going to fly blindly.
Right.
So I think maybe I could summarize three things. Like first is to really set goals, right? As what I mentioned. Then second is to have patience, and third is to have a bit of grace to yourself and also know that this is completely normal. It's a normal process that all of us will go through. Yeah.
Right. Oh wow, that's very profound.
Yeah.
And I think with that, that's a good way to wrap up this session. I want to thank our speakers today, Daniel and Zu Dian, and I also want to thank all of you for tuning in to this episode of The Great Talks. Thank you so much, and I, along with our guests, hope that you tune in to the next episode of The Great Talks. All right, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.